franktalks.com.
For you, listen to Jean Lapierre twice daily, 7:40 with Andrew, 5:35 with Aaron, exclusively on the Voice of Montreal, News Talk Radio, CJAD 800. The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. CJAD 800 presents Passion with sex therapist Dr. Laurie Betito. To reach Dr. Laurie, call 514-790-0800, Star Talk, a free call on Bell Mobility, and 1-800-491-CJAD. Now, here's Dr. Laurie.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Dr. Laurie Betito, clinical psychologist and sex therapist. And tonight, our regular monthly feature that we call Dating Dilemmas. I am joined every month by Frank Kermit, who is a dating coach, a best-selling author. He's an educator, and he's the online relationship columnist for the Suburban newspaper. He can be reached at franktalks.com. And every month, we kind of come up with a theme, and this month's theme is actually quite funny, and I think will generate some interesting stories, and that is superstitions. Dating and love superstitions. As soon as Frank mentioned it, I said, superstitions. I wonder if I remember hearing any. And then I realized, yes, I did remember. I remember growing up and certain traditions and things that if you dipped your feet in wine or whatever, you will find love that year, or all kinds of craziness like this. But of course, we all the reaction was always right. It's just a superstition. But hey, it wouldn't hurt because you never know. Frank, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Laurie. Always a pleasure to be here.
Always great to have you. So I want to hear from our listeners if they grew up with superstitions, because sometimes they're passed on from generation to generation, and I want to hear from our listeners if you have any. Spell them out. We want to share them. 514-790-0800 if you want to call in, or you can text your superstition. Remember, dealing with love and marriage and dating and relationships, of course, 514-800 is the text. So for people who don't quite get what a love or dating superstition is, maybe you can explain it, Frank.
Okay, let's start off with the idea that a superstition is a belief that certain events or things that you do will have some kind of direct influence on things that are normally not at all associated.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if I do this one thing, or if this certain thing happens, it's going to directly impact all these other things that there's no way that they are logically connected. If a black cat crosses your path, that means bad luck is going to come. Well, that cat was there probably because it's chasing a mouse or something. It has nothing to do with your life.
Right.
But when we carry these superstitions, we're so into the belief that no, this is really going to impact us, it's going to affect us. And most people go into the world of superstition because they want to feel some measure of control.
Except they're so far-fetched that where's the control?
It's not a question of the logic behind it. It's about how people feel. There will absolutely be no correlation between the black cat who crosses your path and how your date's going to go that night. But if you make the effort to, hurry up faster before the cat actually crosses your path, you feel a sense of control about something that you don't control, which is
That's true.
your love life and how other people are going to react. People feel better when they do things like throw salt all over their shoulder or
right.
those type of things.
And then some of us look at that and go, oh, my God, this is crazy. It's like all this craziness. And there are some people I notice who live by tons of superstitions.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the whole love stuff, but in every area of their life.
Well, there's some people who do things because they think it's just a social cue that they don't realize is rooted in superstition, such as knock on wood.
Right.
So we'll be talking, and somebody says, well, and if this ever happens, knock on wood, and they actually look for wood to knock on.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that's also a superstition. By
right.
knocking on wood, you're somehow preventing the universe from letting that thing you just said from happening.
Yeah, I guess that is the sense of control. You're right. And we we do feel compelled, don't we? We respond to these superstitions. We feel compelled. I think most of us do.
Well, it's rooted in fear. The
Hmm.
fear of that something bad might happen, that something might happen beyond our control. So we want to do things that work in our favor at all times. Because heaven forbid that something happened that we could have prevented by knocking on wood, we're
Right.
going to feel even worse.
You
So
really
at the
think people say, "Oh, I should have knocked on wood"? I don't think so.
Maybe not, but I do feel that people sometimes take on responsibilities that are not theirs. When something bad happens, they start thinking, what did I do to deserve this? Why am I being punished? If I only loved that person more, if I was only more understanding when they were being, ridiculous with me, if only, if only. And they take on that responsibility. Well, it's the same type of mindset. The idea is, no, you're not responsible for other people's behaviors. You're not responsible for when things go bad.
But
And,
Frank,
and Go
sorry,
ahead.
but where's the line between, let's say, superstitious rituals, like, for example, I know you gave me this example of, how many ice cubes I put in a drink, for example.
Right.
The line between superstitious or rituals and OCD.
I think that when the ritual gets so out of hand that the ritual isn't just something you do as a distraction in your life, where the ritual becomes your life. I think that's when it becomes OCD.
Right, right, right. Mario writes, "It is not true. I broke a mirror, and the 7 years that followed were absolute hell. Not just not great, hell. And the one time I tempted fate and walked under a ladder, something really bad happened. It's better just to not walk under the ladder. Why ask for trouble?" And I think that's it. It's tempting, even though we intellectually kind of know that there's no way this is going to determine our love life or the fate of our love or what have you, we do it anyway.
That's right. In the case of walking under a ladder, well, there's other reasons you wouldn't walk under a ladder. The fact is somebody might be on top of the ladder that you don't see. There might be something that the person set down on the ladder that's going to fall to the floor. That's not a question of
That's
superstition.
logic, though,
That's
Frank.
logic. It's
That's
about
not.
safety. That's about safety.
Right. That's a little different than, yes, it's like,
So
oh, I'm not going to walk under a bridge. Well, if you're in Quebec and you think the bridge is going to fall on your head, that's a good reason not to walk under the
okay, now
bridge.
you're going just a bit too far there, huh?
All
No,
right, here's another texter who says, "I always leave a bite of food on my plate as an offering to whoever, so the food doesn't make me sick." That comes from my Irish grandmother. On a first date, she got angry about this and bailed. What can you do, eh?
you know something? That's actually one of the superstitions. I don't remember what country it's from, but if you leave food on a plate, you're going to remain single.
Wow. Oh, maybe the Irish grandmother knew this.
It might be.
And look at
It
that,
might
the
be.
person bailed. So maybe that one works. I don't know.
Or maybe the person was just looking for an excuse, didn't know how to articulate the real reason they didn't want to see that person again, so they came up with a superstition.
Right. Has there been, well, we'll talk about this coming up, but I do want to find out if they've ever done any research on people who follow through on superstitious rituals and if it actually gets them better love lives or relationships or what have you. So we'll talk about that coming up. I want to hear from our listeners what any superstitions about love, about marriage and relationships that you grew up with, maybe that you even follow or do, or I'm not sure what the word is, but
Adhere to?
that you adhere to. Very good, thank you. A superstition that you adhere to. Let's hear them. And we all know they're not rational, so it's okay. You can say them. 514-800, or you can call us 514-790-0800. Dating dilemmas tonight on the program on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
I love this piece of music. Great. Tonight, dating dilemmas, and we're talking about superstitions. I want to find out if you're superstitious, and do you follow any of these superstitions when it comes to dating and love and marriage and all of that? Have you ever dated someone that was so superstitious, maybe too superstitious for you? Joining us tonight is Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. He's a dating coach. He's a best-selling author. He's the relationship columnist for the Suburban, and he's here every month for Dating Dilemma. So, in fact, if you have questions, any questions about relationships and dating options, stuff like that, tonight is the night. All questions having to do with singlehood is what we reserve for Dating Dilemmas. But in the meantime, let's have a little bit of fun, and I want to hear your superstitions, or the ones your mother or father or grandmother fed you, because I think we are fed these. So here, here's a text message. Hi, Laurie. As a Greek, I was always told throughout my childhood that I should always leave from the door I entered a person's home. Otherwise, if anyone who lived in that home were single and may eventually had a boyfriend or girlfriend, their relationship would end and they would remain alone. How ridiculous.
Wow.
What an impact you would have on someone else, right?
Just
So,
the amount of pressure
uh,
that would have
and
on
the
a
guilt.
community.
Right. And imagine the guilt. So you
Terrible.
can't you walk in through the front door, but you can't leave through the back or the garage or anything like that. Whoa. Here's another one. Making a wish when the clock reads 1:11, 2:22, etc. My kids started this. They're 12 and 15 years old. They get upset when they miss seeing it. P.S. I make a wish too, just in case.
And that just in case carries over such an impact.
It's
Because of the
amazing.
idea that, well, just in case, there is something to this, I don't want to miss out.
That's right. And just in case my Prince Charming is around the corner, I don't want to, just in case, let's just do this ritual. It can't hurt. But what
I know.
happens, Frank, when you have like 15 different rituals or so many superstitions? I imagine some people are led by their superstitions, no?
Well, if you're brought up with a certain ideal, and then as children, these are games, you don't know that they're superstitions. You think that this is a game that children play. One of the games that I used to play as a kid was you twist the apple.
What's that?
You hold the stem of the apple, and you
Mm-hmm.
keep turning the apple, and however many full rotations will predict how many children you're going to end up having.
No way.
And I remember playing this as a kid, and I wanted to see, well, let me see how consistent is this. And my mother swore by it. She was like, "Oh yes, I did it all the time, and I always knew I was going to have 3 kids." And
Really?
sure. Now, as kids, we do it as a game. I didn't recognize that. Oh, this is a superstition.
Right. Well, it's the he loves me not. The daisy thing. That's what we used to
Hmm.
do as girls. We used to pull the petals off the daisy and, oh, he loves me not. Oh, well, end of that one.
Yeah, and if you ended up on the one you didn't want, then you
You
counted the
started
stem.
all over again.
Or how about this one? If you spot a goat on your travels, that's a good omen, because a goat is supposed to absorb all the evil. So if you're heading for a date, you have to hope to walk by and see a goat.
Oh, that's sure to happen in Quebec.
Well, if you're
Okay,
walking by a
maybe in
butcher
some
shop,
regions of Quebec.
well, hey, if you're walking by a butcher shop and they happen to have a goat
Oh,
in
a
the
dead
window,
goat? Okay. Could you recognize it without its skin?
no,
Ew.
probably not.
Ew. But there's a lot of is there any research that looks at this?
I haven't found any research. The only thing is that if you are very superstitious, one of the positive elements is that you're kept very mindful that you always want to be available to finding a future partner. So a lot of
Mm.
superstitions have to do with New Year's Eve.
Mm.
The idea that you have to kiss somebody on New Year's Eve to bring love into that year. That there was one superstition that involved a man had to stand outside with a bag of coal and only walk in after the strike of 12 to guarantee that you would find someone that year. These type of things that, although, yes, they're superstitious and they can seem rather ridiculous, the idea is that you're always kept mindful about, I should make myself available. I should put myself out there. And in that respect, it does push a person to be more proactive to try and meet someone.
Right. Yeah,
It
that's
also
a good point.
it also shows that how important it was, at least when these superstitions developed. So many of them relate to marriage and love. It shows just how important it was to find somebody and pair up.
And it's true. It dates back so many, sometimes centuries back. So we're here talking with Frank Kermit, dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Superstitions. Do you have any of your own dating, love, marriage superstitions? You're listening to Passion on CJAD. And some of them people really, really believed. We've got Mary on the line. Hi, Mary.
I just want to tell you guys that your show is fantastic.
Thanks,
And
Mary.
I've attended a lot of Frank's
Seminars.
classes
Oh, good.
and presentations, and keep up the good work. The superstition that I know is similar to what you guys just said. If you turn the stem on an apple while saying the letters of the alphabet, the letter it falls on is going to be the name of the person you'll end up marrying.
Really? That's a good one, too. Have you tried that one, Mary? Do you play with
I
it?
did as a younger child, and it didn't end up in marriage, but
Well,
it was fun to play.
I think that's, you just said it, these are games we played as a kid. The petal game, he loves me not, and maybe the stem of the apple game, those kinds of things were games to us. But then there are other ones that are like nasty, those are positive ones. And there's like some ones that are, oh, if you do this, you'll never find somebody, you'll never get married. And those are kind of real downers.
I like the positive ones better.
Yes, much better. Thanks for calling, Mary.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Mary.
Bye. Let's see. We have some text messages. Superstitious actions are free. Knock on wood or making a wish. So if I tap my coffee mug before sipping, then maybe Megan Fox will show up. Yeah, maybe. Or not.
Keep wishing.
Here's another one. On the in one door, out the other thing is not just a superstition. That exact thing happened to my cousin. She's super attractive. She has everything going for her. But since her husband left, she's still alone. And she told me someone did leave through the back door. 2 weeks later, the relationship was over and everything had been perfect before then. It was because of the door. I have a hard time believing that. I'm sorry.
So do
I have a hard time believing that. We may blame it on that, and then it excuses all others, right? It's like, oh, it wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. I did nothing. It was because some other person walked through the wrong door.
Denial can be a very powerful thing.
But also, like, it's just so illogical, and also it doesn't take ownership. You never take ownership of why something might have fallen apart. Frank, we're going to just go to news, and after the news, I want to hear more people's superstitions and some of your own that you came up with, and there's a lot of really funny ones. I want to focus on some of the nastier ones that are really depressing, frankly, but we'll talk about that. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJ.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Dilemmas tonight, and on the line with us is Frank Kermit. He usually joins us for Dating Dilemmas, and he's a dating coach, and every month we focus on something different. But you can call him for anything. If you're single and you want to know something about dating, or you have an issue you want to discuss with him, then feel free. 514-800 is the text. You can text there, or you can call at 514-790-0800. In the meantime, we're talking about superstitions, and we've heard some doozies, frankly, like this one. If a woman has hairy legs, she'll marry a rich man. I really don't get that one, but all right, ladies, stop shaving. That's ridiculous.
Well, of course, you marry a rich man because he's going to buy you razors.
Oh, please. And here you go. It's if you drop a pair of scissors, it means your lover's being unfaithful. What about if you drop the scissors on your toes and you sever them? Oh, my goodness.
Well, then you're going to have a double sever in your life, your toes and your lover.
Right,
Actually,
great.
There's a lot of superstitions involving knives and scissors to do with the end of a relationship or the end of whoever you're seeing right now, that it's going to stop.
Okay, but the reality is we drop knives. I know I do. I drop knives all the time. You can drop scissors. All of these things could make a person highly, highly, highly anxious if they believe in all of these things.
And usually it's them becoming anxious and unreasonable that will drive their partners away, not necessarily the act. If a mirror breaks, if somebody's working in a mirror factory,
Right.
and a mirror is going to break every so often,
Right.
that can't mean that they're going to have 7 years of bad luck. However, if that puts them in a foul mood, it's going to be unlucky, well, they may sabotage the opportunities that come their way.
Because they're
People
already assuming that their life's going to be unlucky.
Exactly.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Or people who wear mismatched socks, for example, or
Hmm.
people have rituals of their own, I guess, when they go on dates, right?
Well, clothing and fashion are huge, and usually comes down to what was I wearing when that really good thing happened to me,
Mm.
my first kiss, or the dates will go really well whenever I wear that certain shirt, that certain blouse,
So
or
they
that certain
call it their
color.
lucky shirt, right?
Exactly, their lucky shirt, um, all kinds of things that they think, well, it worked the last time, it'll probably work again this time. And what does that mean? That means that the one time that it happens to be in the laundry or it got torn somewhere and you'll be able to wear it again, it's over for you. It's unfortunate, but people do take superstitions a little too far, and it interferes with their ability just to be open-minded and willing to see where things go.
There's some I love. See a robin fly overhead on Valentine's Day, and you will marry a sailor. See a sparrow, and you will marry a poor man. See a goldfinch, and you will marry a millionaire.
Once again, a lot of these traditional superstitions are really focused on the idea that how important it was to get married and be taken care
Right. True. Or the kiss. Kiss a passion fruit on February 1st, and your dream will come true. A lot of them are. How many Here's another thing. How many guys versus girls believe in superstition? I'm thinking it's a female thing.
it's probably a female thing simply because so many of these superstitions have to do with the longevity of the relationship, breaking up, and getting married. But men have superstitions as well, not necessarily to get married and find commitment, but when it comes to sex.
Oh, well, give me some examples of superstitions.
The idea, if I take a girl to a certain place, um, because it's more likely to lead to sex, I'll take her and it becomes a superstition. It didn't end in sex. Why? Well, we didn't go to that particular restaurant. They're closed for renovations.
Superstitions is really what you're saying.
Exactly. It really depends what's important to you, and because you're feeling anxiety, you're going to go and do things that are going to try to influence it so you can get your goal. Look, it's not just in relationships. If someone makes an application to get into a university, they may say, well, I'm not going to tell anybody. I don't want to jinx it.
Oh, right. We've heard that. Sure, sure, sure.
I don't want to talk about this latest opportunity. I might jinx it. I don't want to talk about the latest job interview I had. I don't want to jinx it.
Right. I don't want to talk about this first date I had because I may jinx the relationship.
Exactly. And again, it's all fear-based of that. I might lose something if I do something that's seemingly unrelated. Now, if you have a legitimate reason why you want to keep things secret, that's one thing.
Right.
You don't want people to know. You don't want people acting awkward in your social circle. That's one thing. It's another thing when there really is no reason to be quiet about something. There really is no reason to worry about how you're going to behave, and you still are doing it just in case.
Always that just in case. Listen to this one. When sweeping the floor, someone brushes over your feet, then you'll never marry. So if you take the brush and if you use the broom over your feet, you'll never get married.
Hmm. Now, can you imagine where you have sibling rivalry, and somebody does that to someone saying, oh, yeah, well, I'm making sure you're going to end up alone. And
Right. It's true. You're right. You're right about that. A texter says, very interesting. Just in case I go to hell, I'll embrace Christianity. I won't have sex before marriage. I know it's all religion and not superstition per se, but it's still the same logic. Trying to find a meaning so we can control fate.
hmm that's
That's
exactly it.
very well said. That's exactly what it is. So we
Yep,
can have a sense that we can control fate.
exactly. Here's one from Korea. If you give your Korean boyfriend or girlfriend shoes as a present, they'll run away or they'll cheat on you.
Okay. Don't give shoes as a present, right there.
To your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Right. Okay, here's another one from somebody, from Mario. There's no reason to be anxious as long as you don't tempt fate, he says. Some of these things may not be proven, but they are 100% true. I don't know about that, but for example, the Bermuda Triangle. How many planes and ships have just vanished there? So just don't go there. And the knife thing is true, Mario says. Oh, Mario's very superstitious, clearly. And if you give a knife as a gift, you have to give a coin with it, and then the recipient has to pay you for the knife with the coin. Otherwise, you'll never see each other again.
That actually I read that when you give a knife to someone, there has to be an exchange of money coming back to you. It will be shed.
That is so weird. That is just too. Mario, he wrote in twice with a few superstitions. He's very superstitious. There are some people, I guess, who really are. Here's another one. Richard writes, hi, great program. The mirror in bad luck goes back to the old days in England. Mirrors were expensive. It took 7 years of salary back then to pay for a mirror. Isn't that interesting?
So that, okay.
Now we know where it comes from. Richard, thank you for that. That's fun. Really fun.
I got one that's similar. The tradition of banging glasses together when you say that we're going to drink to your health.
Yes.
According to Ripley's Believe It or Not, that was created because people used to dip poison when they were trying to kill an enemy into their wine glass. So what they would do is that they would say, I'm going to pour a little bit of my drink into your glass. You're going to pour a little bit of your drink into my glass. Poison for one is poison for all. Eventually, that a method of trying to murder someone phased out, but to this day, we still touch our glasses together, and that's why we drink to everybody's health.
Isn't that interesting? More superstitions coming up here on Dating Dilemmas on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
I'm having a blast tonight talking about superstitions. Dating superstitions, love superstitions. So many of them are surround the whole issue of love and finding love or not finding love, or how long your marriage will last, or who will be severed with who and who will find love. And it can make you crazy. If you followed each one of these things, you could not live a life. I am sorry. Frank Kermit joins us tonight. All right, here's one that texter wrote in. Something old, something blue, and something borrowed. That's an old superstition. Well, I don't know if it's a superstition, but it is. Okay.
Something old represents so your friends stay true to you. Something new is for health and happiness. Something borrowed is a token of love. And something blue is to encourage fidelity.
All right. Who knew? We just do it, right? I think everybody does it, and I don't think we know what it even means, frankly.
Exactly.
Right.
Sometimes superstitions turn into traditions.
Right. There you go. Traditions and superstitions, they go together. Here, what about this? It's thought to be unlucky to get married on your birthday, or to wear pearls on your wedding day, because each pearl represents somehow a tear that you will shed during your marriage. That's also crazy.
That's right.
Here's some more love superstition. I love this one. The hairy legs keeps coming up, Frank. Please tell me why. I don't know, but I'm sure it's for female hairy legs, not male hairy legs.
That's right.
But if you have hairy legs, you will apparently fall in love soon. But in this day and age, Frank, people fall in love quickly, and they have sex rather quickly. They're going to be caught off guard with their hairy legs.
I wonder if hairy legs was maybe a sign of being well-to-do. Meaning if somebody's legs were hairy, they weren't out in the sun, they weren't working and toiling in the fields.
You think it would have to do with growing your legs hairy?
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea.
Wow.
It's odd that so many women are just told, no, if you have hairy legs, that's a good thing. You'll marry a rich man. You're going to marry.
You're right. Keep your legs hairy. That'll put all the estheticians out of business. But anyhow, that's a good one. Here's another one. How about if a woman takes her Christmas tree down before January 6th, she will become a spinster. She'll never marry. I never heard that one before.
I never heard it either.
Well, that's from a texter right there. Or another one that you'll fall in love soon is if you stumble going up a flight of stairs. Doesn't that just mean you're clumsy. I know I've done that a lot.
I kind of hate the idea that, oh, look, something wonderful is about to happen. How? Well, you nearly killed yourself going up those darn
Exactly.
stairs.
But there's other things like sleep with a mirror under your pillow, wear your nightgown out inside out. I'm not sure why that is. And then there's things to do like, using spices and such, right?
Well, men were told superstition: if you don't want to get somebody pregnant, eat lettuce.
No way.
Yeah, that was a
Well,
superstition.
that works. Yeah.
If you're on a date and you have an awkward moment of silence, it's okay. It means the angels are passing over.
Oh, well, that sounds like just a cheesy pickup line somehow.
No, this was actually meaning you're already on the date. You have a moment of silence, like like an awkward
An
pause in
awkward, yes, those
pause in the
awkward silence.
conversation.
Uh-huh.
It means there's an angel passing over, so that's okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You get to say that, so at least it's no longer awkward, right? Say, "Oh, look, an angel passing over."
Hmm.
What are some other crazy stuff?
Well, we've been having a lot of fun with some of these really light-hearted ones, but I mean, there are very serious superstitions as well that could lead to, people like, losing their lives.
Like what?
Well, in certain countries, it's considered bad luck, depending with the gender of your children. I remember it was in Canada. There was a court case where parents killed their own baby daughter, because some fortune sayer said to them, "Oh, this daughter of yours is going to bring bad luck to your son."
Oh,
So I mean,
wow.
there are people who take it really seriously and then, leave common sense behind. So, there's that superstition that if you date somebody too early in your life, when, well, because you went out on a date and even though nothing happened, you could garner a bad reputation and then you'll never be married. And is it a superstition or is it just
A
a thinking?
cultural tradition or something, or a cultural
Exactly.
belief. It's hard to, right, because we have traditions, beliefs, superstitions. That I For me, the superstitions are the things that are the most far-fetched, I think, and of the situation.
The question, though, is what is the history of the super? Because at some point, for example, something when you're talking about a cultural norm that may
Hmm.
no longer be valid today,
Right.
they may still carry over the tradition without understanding that no, this was a superstition and people took it very seriously.
But
Uh,
back then there was a reason for it.
exactly. So what's interesting is to find out why was this brought in? Why
Uh,
what was the symbolism
right.
involved?
But also, Frank, I'm sorry to say, it
Exactly.
doesn't apply to our lives now. It's time to let those superstitions go. More with Frank and dating dilemmas here. Last few minutes, if you want to get in your superstition, would love to hear it. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800. Right here on the program for our dating dilemmas, we focus on dating issues. Month. Of course, you can call in with any dating issue that you have, but this is a really fun topic. I had no idea we had so many superstitions surrounding dating and love. And yet, when you stop to think about it and you think about our traditions, yeah, I've done it too. You're to one too. I think we all have.
Dr. Laurie, at your wedding, did you throw the bouquet?
Did I throw the? I believe. No, no, I did not have a traditional bouquet. No, I had. Did I have? Did I throw the bouquet? You know what? I can't remember. How bad is that? See what happens when you're turning 50? You lose your memory.
Look,
Sorry.
it's because you've had such a happy marriage
Right.
that you don't
Those
even
things don't.
remember the wedding.
Yeah, these are not things I do remember. I just don't remember the absolute details. Here's another one from Dave. When a bird craps on you or your vehicle, and I also heard on your head, money will be at the forefront in your immediate future for good or
Yeah.
bad. I remember absolutely that I always had that. If a bird craps on you, on your foot, on your head, whatever, it's okay. It's good luck. No, it's
Yeah.
disgusting, is what it is. It's not anything.
Well, how about the tradition, I was alluding to earlier? All the single girls get onto the dance floor. The bouquet is thrown. Whoever catches it is the next person who supposedly is supposed to get married.
Right. Okay, that
And
doesn't happen.
well, actually, in Korea again, uh, the bride is going to receive the bouquet, and if she doesn't get married within 6 months, she'll never get married.
Oh, that's even nicer. Talk about a lot of this stuff is helpful, Frank. Yes, the very least, Frank. Thanks for that interesting conversation. Did very much appreciate it. FrankTalks.com is Frank's email address. Thank you, Frank. We'll catch up with you again next month.
Take care.
All right, take care. Ryan Ryder in Master Control, thank you so much. Thank you all for sharing your superstitions with us tonight. Had a good laugh and had a lot of fun. Thank you very much. News is coming up next, followed by the C Comedy Show. Have a wonderful rest of the night, and please remember, life is short, so make sure you take the time to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
What do you do when you feel like a fool? When your heart has been broken again? Pick up the phone or get onto Skype and talk on a private session. Yeah, get a little help from Frank Talks. Whoa, whoa, get by with a little help from Frank Talks. You gotta try a little help from Frank Talks. What do you do when your love goes away? Try coaching one-on-one. How do I sign up to turn things around? Just sign up at franktalks.com. Yeah, get by with help from Frank Talks. I get by with little help from Frank Talks. Time to try a little help from Frank Talks. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's the best rate going around. But it costs a lot of money. Oh, it's worth every cent that you will put down. Yeah. franktalks.com. Oh, you got to go to get your help from franktalks.com. Yeah, yeah. franktalks.com. Would you believe that Frank gets results? Yes, we're certain. Just read the reviews. Frank knows his stuff, and Frank's got the goods. Good love can soon come.